Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of Real Life Matters. Of course, I'm your host, DBoss. I'm asking you, before we get started, take out your phone. I know you have your phones in your hand or some kind of device, and go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is DBoss Networks. Also, follow me on Instagram at DBoss_1, DBoss Real Life Matters. And if you want to be on Facebook, it's Sweet the Boss. And also follow the guests that come on, because it just takes a minute to support them here on the channel, and it's good to support everybody what they're doing today. So anyways, I have a special lady here, a guest, and she's in the States. She's in Connecticut, and it's a little different. She does something similar to me, and is with no other further ado, I'm going to introduce she's a radio personality, and we're going to find out more from her. Her name is DJ Switch.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Hi. Woo! It's good seeing the woman here now, because a lot of men dominate sometimes the industry.
Oh, but definitely.
You know what? So tell everybody where you come from.
I am from Connecticut, specifically born and raised in a small town called Plainville. I was born and raised here, so I've never moved out of state. So I've always lived here. I don't know what else. I've worked at my job for 20 years in Hartford, Connecticut, which is the state capital of Connecticut. Okay. So I've been doing that for a long time. And in my spare time, I'm everything about music: hip hop, R&B, soul, everything.
Woo! And I love that kind of music there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
All right. So how long have you're working for Hip Hop Boulevard?
Okay. So if you allow me to go back a little bit, because there's a little
go back
before that. A few years ago, I was approached. Well, put it this way: I've always wanted to be a DJ since I was 13 years old. Before Connecticut even had a commercial radio station on the radio, there was college radio stations, and I used to listen on a little radio in my room and tape record with tape cassettes. If the younger generation knows what that is, I used to tape off the radio and make tons of cassettes. So fast forward many years, we have a few radio stations now in Connecticut, one main one, but I've always had the desire to be a DJ. It's funny, my family knows that if I go to parties or a picnic or just to get together with friends, a lot of people are like, Leanne, just DJ, so I would play some music off of whatever I had. And that's what we did. So a few years back, I was approached by somebody from WRTC in Hartford, Connecticut. That is a radio station. It's a college radio station. They are inside Trinity College. So I was approached by the head of the Thought Power radio show, which ran at late night from like 10:30 to 2 a.m. And then you had another shift of 2 a.m. to 6. And this wonderful woman told me she could train me for free to be a DJ. So of course, I didn't have to go to school. I did try to go to school at one point, and it was too expensive. So, I just sat on the idea for a few years, and all of a sudden this angel comes my way, offers me a spot on the radio show, taught me everything that I know, and here I am today. So I would say a couple of years later, I actually got in touch with some people in the lower part of the state in New Haven, Connecticut. And I had left our WRTC at this point, and I ended up joining a radio station called WSME. They're an online radio station still active today. And they're more of like down in the New Haven area, but because they're online, they broadcast 24 hours a day. So I discovered them. And then through them, I give them all the credit, I discovered Al Pizarro at Hip Hop Boulevard. And Hip Hop Boulevard, I think they would consider out of the Bronx, but we're all over the United States. I mean, we have a website, and what I do there is I am their news. I take care of their news section on their website.
Wow.
hip hop news, anything that is pertaining to hip hop. So I do that. I'm a journalist and I do interviews. So I've done a couple of interviews already, two great interviews. If anybody out there is familiar, back in the 80s, there was a show on TV called Yo MTV Raps. And there was two guys that were in charge of that TV show was Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. And I ended up interviewing Dr. Dre, who's, a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful man. So I got a chance to interview him. And then I also had the chance, sadly, right around the time that DMX passed away this year, I had the pleasure of interviewing DJ Superior, one of DMX's first DJs when he started out. So that's a little.
Well, how was that? So what did you talk about with him?
DJ Superior specifically, he actually talked a lot, and you could find these interviews on hiphopboulevard.net. On my news page, you could see these two interviews. He was really interesting to talk to, fascinating about the things that I never knew. I'm a big DMX fan. I always loved him when he first started out. I sadly never met him, but through DJ Superior, I found out things that I never even knew about DMX. So it was wonderful, wonderful talking to him. Both gentlemen, of course.
Oh, and first of all, and how did you come up with your name, DJ Switch?
Okay, that's a funny story. So I am a fraternal twin. I have a twin sister. A lot of people would think we are identical because we look alike, sound alike, but we're fraternal. So growing up through high school, and we used to play tricks on people because we looked a lot alike. So we used to switch classes in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll confess, I actually went on a date for her once as well. So and the guy had no idea. So that's where DJ.
He didn't have it. He didn't know. He didn't have.
No,
he couldn't figure it out.
No idea. He had no idea. So that's how much we used to look like. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun when I had to figure out what my DJ name would be. That's what it was, and it sticked.
So does your twin, does she DJ at all or no?
No. She just enjoys doing her thing, but loves the fact that I'm doing my thing. So yeah.
Oh, well, you think that maybe she would be in the entertainment and in industry also, but I guess that's where the difference is.
Yeah, she loves music just as much as I do, but I have the bug for DJing and being on the air. I love it. I hope to be back at it soon. I've had offers to do online DJing, but the interest, it's not. I love live radio better, so that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, so you like to do it live.
Yes, live radio. Yep.
All right, so your genre, you say you just do hip hop. So why did you pick that side of music to do?
Well, actually, when I was DJing, my genre was R&B. And that actually is, I love hip hop, but I love R&B even more. I have an old soul. So when I used to DJ, the DJ that would come on after me, usually what DJs do is listen to the show while they're driving in to hear who's on the radio. And every single time it was gospel, because if I DJ till 6 a.m., gospel will come on next. And I would be in the booth, and all of a sudden I would see somebody pass by in the hallway and take a double take. Because of the music I was playing, anything from Minnie Riperton to Glenn Jones to Luther Vandross. Because,
I like him too.
Well, in the middle of the night, I always believe that what else to listen to but some slow jams. So that's what I used to DJ. And that's my first love is R&B.
Wow.
And then hip hop came along. I've always loved hip hop. When I was 13, I heard Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five for the first time. I fell in love immediately. And through Hip Hop Boulevard, I've met so many legends, pioneers, icons at events that we have. And it's just been a whirlwind experience for me.
Well, You know what? And that look at you now. You've been doing this for a long time.
Yep. It feels like it. And it's really, it's something because it really hasn't been a long, long time, but it's, I have to say that, once you start meeting people, the ball just starts rolling and you meet even more. And I think that's probably, besides DJing live on the radio, that's probably my favorite part about going to events and meeting these legends, these pioneers from way back when. And I was
So what do? You sit in a booth when they come, or you go to meet them, or they interview them right there, or what do you guys do?
No, actually, it's, this past Saturday we had a hip hop event in the Bronx. And it was the first. Oh, Alpizar was going to kill me, but we celebrated DJ Jazzy J, and the day was for him. So while being there, I helped work it by greeting people, whatever job I needed to do. So when you do that, you run into people and you recognize them. Either you've met them before, or you've met them through Instagram or Facebook, and then you're finally meeting them in person. It's as easy as that, and they just show up. Like, I can't even begin to. For me, taking pictures with some of these artists are unbelievable. I'm humbled and I'm honored that they take a minute for me just to get a photo with them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. I have such a great time that when I'm driving home to Connecticut the same day, it's sad to leave. Like, I would love to live in New York.
Oh.
Yep.
Right. And then you finding out that you're a woman. So how do you deal with that? And they're like, oh.
Yeah. I have to say, I've had open arms from everybody. Whenever I go somewhere and someone recognizes me, truthfully, it's all love, all the time. All the time. It's hug, even though through COVID, we're all careful and stuff, but I come back home and I'll tell people, hey, I must have hugged about 80 people today. Because we recognize each other, or they're yelling, hey, switch, 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 and it's all love all the time. All the time.
I love your logo. Did someone do that for you, the logo?
Yes. That was actually a t-shirt that was made for me a couple of years ago by a graffiti artist who has sadly passed away this year. But his name was Craig Streeter, and he was from New Haven, Connecticut. And he did wonderful, wonderful work. As you can see, that t-shirt is my favorite. I have a couple of them, and I will hold them close to my heart. He just did beautiful work. So yeah, I love that t-shirt, and he did it.
Well, it represents you, your logo. It really does. Like,
yeah.
You're in this old, like, it reminds me of the Barbie, the Barbie bus.
Yes. It was funny when I asked him, he was like, switch, what do you want on the shirt? And I said, I don't know, like put a white girl, like a cartoon white girl with brown hair and bangs and glasses, And when I ever picked up the shirt, it came out better than I could ever dream.
Wow.
Ever dream. I love it. Love it. Because it just depicts a girl, with a set of turntables representing hip hop, with the graffiti. It was great. I loved it. I love it.
So how do you keep your listeners engaged?
Well, I guess when I was live on the radio, I had followers, of course, and a lot of people think, oh, it's the middle of the night, nobody's listening. That's so untrue, because people, forget they're third shift workers. There are people maybe that are sick and at home and maybe can't sleep. So I had all types of people listening. And I guess sense of humor was good, and, great music is what people, if you think about it, if you have a great playlist, they're going to tune in again. They're going to call in and make a request. Or they're going to call in and ask, hey, Switch, when are you going to be on the radio again? So it's all about music too. Gotta play the good beats.
You play the good beats?
Huh? Excuse me?
So you say you play the good beats for them.
Oh yeah. I mean, I played slow jams. That was my specialty. So it was,
Woo!
I have my favorites. Betty, Teddy Pendergrass, the OJs, Glenn Jones, Shirley Murdoch, just to name a few. So I would take it way, way back, and then I would bring it, I'd bring it forward to like maybe some Beyonce, things like that, Tyrese. But I enjoyed going back to like the 60s, 70s, that kind of music.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like Millie Jackson and all that.
Oh, all of it. All of it. Charlie Wilson, like I said earlier, Minnie Riperton was a favorite of mine. Nat King Cole, all of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
So my music is very mixed, very, I believe I have a little bit of everything.
So how do you keep up with the music trends that how do you keep it, like what's going, so you could be in line and you're standing out with all the other DJs?
I listen to today's music, and being a radio DJ, you've got to play clean music, which means, no swear words and things like that. And I do get a lot of DJ or a lot of artists that will send me music, and it's always going to be clean music, and if I didn't play it while I was DJing, I would pass it along to my friends so they would have it, or for them to listen to it. So
how do you tell somebody if there's too much curses in there because you're doing that hip hop?
I just let them know I can't play this because there's swear words. Like the FCC would come after the radio station and find them. You could play certain types of music like after like 10:30 p.m. But I never
can't be constantly like that cursing.
Yeah, you can't. And you're just better off. For me, if you're going to be on the radio and be a DJ, just collect clean music and keep the other music, for when you're in your car, and you can jam out there.
We jam it down.
Yeah. If it's not clean music, you're in your car, who cares? But you save the good stuff, the clean stuff, for when you're on the radio.
Yeah, because some guys, they don't have clean stuff because every second word they're saying something that's cursing, and it's terrible.
Exactly. Or, to me, my opinion, any reputable artist should have a clean version and with a dirty version of their music. They should have both, because, how versatile are you going to be if all your music has a lot of profanity in it? So my belief is you should come out, if you have a song, come out with a clean version along with your profanity-laced song. I think you should have both.
I like that one, laced. And some of them are really laced though, because sometimes I have entertainers come on here and I can't even play their song because every minute and every second, and it's terrible because the beat may be good, but
and then if you have to bleep everything out, I think the song sounds a mess.
Yes, beat.
Yes. Or they cut out the word and everybody knows what they're saying. So my belief is just give me a clean version. And, most artists that are up and coming, they have that. And, they're more than happy to give that to me. So I'll say, if you want me to play it or pass it along, it's got to be clean music.
Yeah. So you don't want to get any flack.
No. I don't want to hear that anyways.
Nobody else, because it's not really uplifting. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
And
even at if we have a hip hop event, nobody wants to sit around if you're of a certain age or whatever age you are and listen to that. You want to feel good. You want to pull up a chair and a cooler and a blanket and listen to some good music. Nobody wants to hear a bunch of swears.
Yeah, but that's the reality of it. Nobody wants to hear that, but they, somehow they thinking that's, I guess, if you're doing a live, and you're in a competition and stuff. But when you have to play something, nobody wants to hear that. When are you gonna be sitting with a glass of wine? Oh, this, this,
this, and blah blah blah.
No, we can't do that.
No. And even interviewing people, right? I'm sure if you've ever interviewed, you've got to be careful they don't swear.
Oh,
I can only imagine.
You're just crossing your fingers and your toes and everything else. And then the ones with the smoking, and you got to make them calm down. It's so different because you can't do certain things. Because we're being watched by 12 million people in 22 different countries. And you have to be careful. So these people have to know your standards. You have a standard.
Yes.
Some people don't care, but then they're always getting shut down or turned off, or or the social media will shut you down.
Yeah, and I believe if you're trying to make it in the world, don't you want to play them? I mean, everybody has their own type of music that they love, and things like that. But if you're trying to promote yourself and that you want your music played, play something that people want to hear. I think that's and
well, they're along with a lot of other people that feel that same way also.
Yeah.
You only can play that music. You only seem like you can only play that music when you're in a certain environment. And then all of a sudden, you can't play it any other environment because you can't even play it at the Grammys. They're not going to play that. They're not going to play that at any award show.
So how far? So as an artist, how far do you think you're really going to go?
And the radios won't take it. Nobody's going to take it. They'll be like, "Oh, do you have another version?" Well, I don't know.
Because nobody wants to get fined. These radio stations, the nice thing about me being on college radio, there's a difference between the radio stations out here that are commercial radio stations. They're actually told what to play. The nice thing about college radio stations, I made my own playlists each time I DJ'd. So I had to come up with 4 hours of music, 6 hours, but depending on how many hours I was, I'd have to put a playlist together of like 50 or 60 songs, depending on how long.
Wow.
And do some drops and things like that. And all of it had to be clean music. And even speaking on the radio, obviously you can't swear either. So, and I think that's why, and that sets us apart from commercial radio, because they are told what to play, whereas college radio or maybe private radio stations, I was allowed to make my own playlists, which was enjoyable because I got to play what I wanted to hear.
But some people don't understand. Some people don't get that. They think, "Oh, why should I should be able to curse?" Yeah, but you can't be saying that because you got kids watching you.
Yeah,
you don't know who be watching you.
Yeah, and whether it's a child or somebody that's an elderly person, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, all the time. This, that, F this, F that. Who wants to be hearing that every single minute? You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's what I like about the old school and the R&B music and the stuff that we did back then, because it was nothing like that. The music that we grew up with was all clean music.
Yeah, and
our hip hop were clean.
Yeah, and then the nice thing about R&B, they're singing about love and
happiness.
That's what I love. That's why I'm old school to my heart. Old school to my heart.
And you could dance with somebody, and it's very romantic, and you can, people, people like that. You could really get up and dance and move. Otherwise, some of the songs, bad. Like how many things you can be jumping, and jumping like that and dancing. It's very hard, and you got your heels on and your dress. I don't think so.
Yeah. Yep. So
I like some hip hop, but it's got to be clean hip hop, pop, rock. I like that, right? But some people don't understand when you you relate to that. Oh, you don't get it. And it's not all about weed, and they think it's all about smoking weed and cursing and being bad and drinking. Like that's giving it a thing, because the real hip hop artists back in the day, like Dougie Fresh and LL Cool J and those guys that were singing, they didn't sing like that,
No, and usually what they sang about was, KRS-One's, they call him the teacher. Because he sang about real life situations, about maybe school or, the streets. So I love old school hip hop as well. I just love the music. I just, There's nothing about old school that I don't love.
And they could play that everywhere. It was on the radio.
Yep.
There was no worrying about if you had to bleep anything out because there was nothing to bleep out.
No.
But it was good and it was clean and everybody understood it. The only thing you had to do was try to catch up with the lyrics because the lyrics were so fast, so you could get to memorize it, so you could sing it when it came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you can actually understand them from back in the day. I mean, nowadays some of the music, I'll probably get killed for this, but some of it is mumble rap. They're mumbling. You can't even understand.
You're not gonna get killed. It's your opinion. This is Real Life Matters, girl. But the thing is about it, it's what you stand for, right?
Yes.
A lot of them are, or some of them are so drunk that they don't even know what they're saying because by the time they're performing, some of them can't even remember what they're supposed to be, what they're singing about or their lyrics.
You're so right. You're so right.
Some of them can't even remember because they've been waiting to go on, and then all they're doing is oh, what's that? What are you trying to say? Oh.
Or it sounds like they have a bunch of marbles in their mouth. So,
or some ice blocks there.
I have my, just like everybody, I think in music, everybody has their favorites, whether it's old school, new school, or whatever. But I'm definitely old school, and I have my favorites. So
yeah, and you're holding in your lane what you do, so people can differentiate you from everybody else. If you just going, well, this side, I'm on this side for a few months. Well, this fad goes, or I'm on this one when this fad goes. But you are holding. DJ Switch is holding in her lane, what she knows, what she does best, and people come to you, and people know that you have a standard.
Yes.
And that's something. And you're out of New York. And they probably say this white girl. Oh my God! They probably people will be saying, "Oh my goodness, this is really good." You get that all the time, I guess, right?
Well, and and not to be funny, when I talked earlier about the gospel people coming in after me after this night of slow jams, they will take a double take because never in their million years would they think, here's this white lady on the board DJing Minnie Riperton. And, this one lady, of course, I forgot her name, this DJ for gospel. She came over to me, hugged me, and she's like, "You have an old soul." She's like, you keep playing that music. And I said, I totally intend to. Totally.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, we like to come to your house. We got to come to your house and sit down, and you be jamming.
Oh, I love
the good that. Food. Because remember back in the day, you're playing in the hours when people used to come home, and then people used to put on music.
Yes.
Put on music when they came back from a party. They just came, but people would come home and put on music again and be cooking some more food to eat.
Oh, and some of the DJs at WRTC, I love, but they used to say, "Oh, DJ Switch plays that baby making music." I'm like, what else in the middle of the night? I don't know about you, but I don't want to listen to any rap. Or I want to listen to, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes.
Things like that. Oh, it was
Albie Shore or you want to hear Freddie Jackson.
Yes.
Don't get me started. Don't get me going.
All of them. That's what I would think you would want to listen to at 3 a.m. But so that was a great
the Strikers band, the Strikers.
Everything.
You listen to Cameo. You put on Cameo too.
Yes.
Oh!
Diana Ross. I play everything. Everything.
Aretha Franklin.
Everything.
Wow.
So
here you're all around. This is something else. We getting into some deep stuff here because your stuff there.
I do. I really do.
And what about the house music?
No, I've never gotten into house music ever. No, I don't know. It's like too much boom, boom, boom. Like, I don't know. I don't like it. I really don't.
But they got that soul house music that's a little bit more like a cross between R&B, or you don't really.
But this girl here is all hip hop and R&B. Like, I like reggae.
No house music.
I like reggae too, but don't, I can't.
Don't overdo it.
Yeah, I like reggae. But I don't really DJ too much of it. But I do like it. I just,
So you play like Now That We Found Love. You play the old. That was the R&B mix too.
Yes, things like that I would pick. But as far as like house or jazz, I've never really had a love for those genres. I do even listen to some rock and roll, but at the end of the day, I am definitely R&B and I am hip hop all day. Don't get tired of it. Yeah, and I love it. I just love it.
So are you into you like the Afro beats or the calypso, soca?
Yeah, but I would listen to it, but I don't know it well enough for me to DJ it. Put it that way. But I'll listen to it. I'll listen to anything really. I like all genres of music.
Right.
Somebody reached out to me recently on Instagram and asked me if I liked Latin hip hop because he was in the Dominican Republic. I said, sure, send me something. I don't know Spanish. The artist, no, but the artist.
But the music's good. The Latin is the reggaeton is good.
The guy has like over 1 million views on YouTube. He's a really good artist, and I don't know who it is, but he's good, and it was Latin hip hop. So I'm opening another door now. So we'll see where that takes me.
That's something. That's while we're looking forward for something. Here you come, 2022.
Yes, I'm open to all things.
So what would you say is the most rewarding part of being a DJ for you?
In the very beginning, I probably would say playing music live on the radio, just that period. But now that I've pushed forward a few years and I'm more involved with events and meeting people, I think I like that probably the best.
Wow.
I do. I would love to go back DJing, but I want live radio. But in the time being, meeting people is where it's at for me. I enjoy that so much.
Because you're seeing them up close and personal. I like that too. I like when you go to these events. I have a blast.
And I can't say it enough. I have been blessed to have met some DJs that I've always dreamed of meeting. And
like who? Tell us.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when I first came on the scene with Hip Hop Boulevard, and I always said, no matter what festival we went to, I always would say, where's DJ, Kool Herc? He's the father of hip hop. And people would say, I'm surprised you haven't met him yet. I said, I have not met him. So probably about 3 years ago, I had the pleasure of finally meeting him. And I told him the day that I met him, honestly, I said to him, if I never meet anybody again, I would be okay because I met him. And
so what was he like? So what did he say to you?
Oh, he was just so nice to me. He listened to me. He was, had questions for me. What do you DJ? Where do you DJ? He just had a boatload of questions for me, and I was just in awe. And I still talk to him here and there. We'll call each other a couple times a year because I check in on him, and he'll check in on me. So I consider him a friend. And somebody that I always dreamed of meeting, I finally got to meet. And then, another DJ that I had the pleasure of meeting actually this year. And then on this past Saturday at the hip hop event we did, I actually got a picture with him. And that was DJ Red Alert, who is still DJing. He's on WBLS, I believe. But yeah, I told him my story when I was growing up. I always, like I said earlier, I always dreamed of being a DJ, but I always wanted to be like Red Alert. And he was like, I said, I don't know. I always knew who you were, even though I lived in Little Connecticut with no radio stations when I was young. but I always knew that there was a guy, a DJ named Red Alert. Always wanted to meet him, dreamed of meeting him, and I finally did this year. So it's, that's what I love doing. I really, really, like my son will tell me, Mom, like you can conversate with anybody.
Wow.
Anybody. And, people give it right back. It's all love, all love.
So who would you like to meet that you haven't yet?
That's a tough one. Because in the hip hop world, one of my favorite now we're talking about not DJs anymore. We're talking about artists.
Yes, artists.
I actually I had the pleasure again of meeting Rakim from Eric B. and Rakim in Boston 2 years ago. And I was probably numb from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet when I met him.
Wow.
So, yeah, I would love to meet, going forward, probably, I would love to meet, in hip hop, I would love to meet Method Man. I would love to meet Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One in person.
Wow.
Yeah, I always wanted to meet DMX and Biz Markie, but obviously they passed on. So in the R&B world, I would love to meet probably Glenn Jones.
I like him too.
Charlie Wilson. Keith Sweat. I've seen him in concert a couple times. I would love to meet Brian McKnight.
Yes, there's a nice look. Those are good ones.
Yeah, so it's a nice little group. But yeah, I mean, so off the top of my head, that's probably where I'm at right now because I've met my favorites so far, but I've met so many others too, though. I just have. I mean, I've met members of the Cold Crush brothers. I've met members of them. I've met members of the L Brothers. So we're going back, but they're
the L Brothers. What did they say?
Well, they were a group with Mean Gene and Theodore Grand Wizard. DJ Grand Wizard Theodore is another member. But so I've met MCs. I've met a lot of people from these guys are pioneers. They started it all in hip hop. Going back with Kool Herc, they started it all, so I've had the pleasure of meeting, Grandmaster Caz. I've met so many different people. And that's why I just keep going back to saying that's what I love doing these days.
What about Jane Child? You like her?
Yes. I've never met, but I like so many different types of music, like even Adele, listening to Adele.
I like Adele.
I would love to meet her, so that's just name some of the names, but yeah, I mean, I've been blessed and I've met a lot, but there's still a lot I would love to still meet. And that's why I loved going to events and things like that.
Yeah, well, it always helps when you meet people like that you want to see. You never know here, people watch you and see you and they reach out to you.
Yeah, maybe because I know, this one over here, I might meet somebody else that shows up and I get to meet him. And that's usually a lot, him or her. That's usually how it happens. It's so funny.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's just what I love doing.
So does your son like what you do?
Of course. He's 28. He's 28 years old and he loves it. He's proud of me and my whole family is. My sister, I have a niece, and I have two brothers and they're all proud of me. And I have so many, I have a lot of friends that follow me, whether we've met in person or not. They follow me on Facebook or Instagram and it's great. I mean,
so what days are you on the radio from?
I'm not on the radio at the present time. So that's why.
Okay, but usually when you're on.
Going to events or doing events or doing interviews or writing the news for Hip Hop Boulevard is what keeps me busy right now.
Well, I like that song, the name Hip Hop Boulevard.
Yes. Well, there's
like going down the road or something,
Well, Of course, I just drew a blank, and I'm so embarrassed. I hope you cut this part out.
Nope.
You'll be all right. I'll be quick, but there's a background to Hip Hop Boulevard. When Kool Herc, he used to live on 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in Bronx. And when he started and had a documented flyer of the first party he gave and DJ'd for his sister for going back to school, that's why they call him the father of hip hop. So they changed the street name of Sedgwick to Hip Hop Boulevard.
Wow.
So if you're ever in New York and you go to what, used to be considered Sedgwick, is now the street sign below it says Hip Hop Boulevard.
Wow.
So the company was started, and we promote everything from health and wellness to what's the latest news to health insurance to whatever. So they have a lot of different panels they do. They just the website alone, you could find out anything about maybe a graffiti artist or somebody, that's an MC, or a DJ, beatboxer, b-boy, b-girl. You can find anything, amongst other things, on the website. You can see all of that on hiphopboulevard.net. It's a very robust website.
It looks like it has a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Like you. There's a lot of hardworking people behind that name, let me tell you.
Wow. Well, it sounds like it because it's such a far, you guys reach a lot of things, and it's a lot of things. A lot of people don't realize in hip hop, there's a lot of different avenues and sections and dissecting that you can do.
Yep. Yeah, there's anything from emceeing, graffiti artists, DJs, breakdancing, all of that stuff is hip hop.
Did you do any breakdancing when you were younger?
No.
I didn't do that either.
I did gymnastics when I was younger, and that's about it. I don't think I have enough rhythm, or I can't spin on my head, like these breakdancers do. They're unbelievable.
You would see some of these big men on the ground doing that, and it's like, get up. You know what? You're a little too big for that. You know what I mean?
It's incredible to watch. Let me tell you, I'm a big fan.
I think they're doing all this piece of cardboard and all that in their head,
You'll never see me doing it, though.
No. No. My feet are on the ground.
Yeah, my feet are on the ground, too. I'm, like, clumsy enough. I trip over my own feet, so, no.
All right, so, if people want to follow you or something, where can they find you?
Well, they could find me on Instagram if you give me a moment. I'm embarrassed to say that I don't even know my real name on there. But I'm a real person, and I don't mind being honest. So if anybody wants to reach out to me on Instagram, you could, my name on there is, I'll spell it out for you. My first name is Liann. So it's Liann, then a dot, and then DJ Switch, DJSWITCH. That's my name on Instagram. So if anybody's interested, they could find me on Instagram.
You respond more there.
Yep. And if they want to reach out to me, on Facebook, I could tell you my Facebook name is Liann, my first name, Liann, space, my last name, Pelletier, Pelletier.
That's French, Pelletier.
Pelletier. Yep, it's Liann Pelletier, and then a dash, DJ Switch. So,
Well, they're gonna be looking out for this French girl because we probably got some relatives up in Canada.
Oh, without a doubt. This French girl, yep, I'm Canadian French and proud.
Wow.
Yeah.
People, she's French Canadian. You know what? We lived. We grew up in Montreal, so I did my high school and the college over there. So.
Wow. And I'm a Scorpio. If anybody follows this astrological signs, I'm a Scorpio.
Okay.
a little bit more information about DJ Switch.
Wow. So any shout outs you want to give to anybody before we get you off?
Shout out to my family and my friends that I know are going to watch this video without a doubt because they're all waiting. Shout out to you. I love you all. Love is love. Yep. So.
All right. Well, I'm telling you, it was a pleasure having you on tonight. I'm telling you, people learn. Wow, they're going to know everything about you now.
Good.
Well, now you see the person behind the voice.
Yep. Well, thank you for having me, DBoss.
Oh, yes.
It was such a pleasure.
Oh, and then you got to come back at some point in 2022.
All you got to do is
follow you up.
And you never know, DBoss. I might be the one interviewing you one day.
Oh, okay. That's not an issue. Lately, that seems like it's been the thing people been calling the.
I'm sure you have an interesting background too. I would love to know who you've interviewed. That would be great.
Oh gosh, a lot of people. Oh, it's a big roster.
Good. Well, you're good at what you do.
Very big roster. So
you're good at what you do. I'm not even nervous, and so I'm just feeding off your energy, which is great.
No, well, you don't have to be nervous. This is Real Life Matters, and this is it. And now they know DJ Switch and who you are. And now that people are going to look you up.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to thank the viewers tonight for watching. Follow DJ Switch. Get out there. It takes a second. Reach out to her if you want to meet her, or you want to be on an interview, or you want her to interview you. And you're in that hip hop R&B section because she has a particular brand which she stays in,
which I love. But I do love like we said before, R&B, hip hop, all right here.
All right, so everybody, thank you for watching A Real Life Matters. So everybody, bye for now.
Bye for now. Thank you.